The Chiefs and Chris Jones have resolved their contractual differences, and Jones is now back in the fold. Here is Chris Jones from yesterday when asked by reporters whether he, GM Brett Veach, and head coach Andy Reid have put aside the conflict so they can focus on the task at hand.
I think you as reporters and fans kind of misscrew the contract thing. It's never personal. I don't think I start hating Coach Reid or I start disliking Veach. I love Veach. You know that he knows I love him. We had on and off conversation throughout it all. Coach Reid, I love him too. Me and him still calling texts. We actually got a group text. Veach sent I retweeted a picture where it was like Chris Jones after season, Chris Jones off season, where I was big with no neck. And we actually had a little joke about that through the midst of it. So I don't think our relationship was affected any about that. You know, they know how much I love this organization. They know how much I love this team. And I don't think that affected any part of our relationship. Listen, I'm happy to be back, okay? The business aspect, you can't get personal into it. You know, when you get personal, things can turn bad, you know what I mean? I never took it personal. I did take some of the stuff y'all said on Twitter about me personal. Like, I just want y'all to know, I keep receipts, okay? Talking to all y'all that's been talking stuff on Twitter, I keep receipts, and yeah.
Chris Jones, listen, when you and I last met on Tuesdays, I was trying to get home, and you were trying to get away from me for a day, as you now do on Wednesdays. The Chris Jones news was out, but we didn't know what he was getting by way of a revised contract for 1 year. On my way to the airport, made a couple of phone calls and got the information. And look, in all fairness and with all due respect,
yeah, he's settled.
Really isn't all that great.
Well, yeah, he's settled. No doubt about it.
Really, it's a little face saver. And he said that they were able to boost my salary up to make up for the fines and everything. He lost $3.1 million through $2 million, 2.1 in non-waivable fines, and he lost $1.08 million in missing the Thursday night opener. So that's $3.1 million he's got to make up now. He can make, I think, $2 million back through playing time incentives. He's got to play at least 50% of the snaps. So that gets him 66% of the way there. The rest of it, he's got to work for it. He's got to have 10 sacks to get the extra $1.25 million. And they have some other, like, really high-end incentives. If he's a first-team All-Pro and the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl,
seriously,
he gets $1 million.
Right.
Well, that's not something I'm going to place, a whole lot of stock in.
Yeah, that's tough.
Because it takes a lot for both.
There's a lot of good D tackles.
Defensive Player of the Year, if he's Defensive Player of the Year and they win the Super Bowl, which is really one hell of a parlay, he gets another $2 million. So the maximum package is over $25 million, but I would not bet on that maximum package. That's a lot that has to happen for Chris Jones to make that money. So I think he wanted to come back. They found a way for him to save some face. They found a way for him to declare victory and retreat, and I kind of think that's what he did.
I think so. I mean, I think it's something that we talk about a lot. One, it's like a guy that wants to play football. He really wants to be there. He loves doing it. He loves his team. So, he starts to become antsy. And I don't know, it has the feel of like, I can't imagine the agents were like, hey, go back and do this. This is a great deal, right? This more has a feel of like family members going, are you really just going to not collect $10 million and sit out to week 8? Like, it sounds like mama or grandma or somebody was like, oh, honey, Chris Jones, you're crazy. You're crazy, honey. You're going to just leave all that money there? I mean, that's where it feels like, between that and wanting to play football and not let down his guys and all that. That's where it feels like it came to a head here, And yeah, I mean, the contract, what he got, certainly it's not in the class of the other young guys we saw at the position yet that are still not as good as Chris Jones. So, yeah, I think, all of those factors and some things that probably we don't know played into this. But either way, it's good for football he's back, and it's big for the Chiefs for him to be back this week, especially against Jacksonville, who we know has got some weapons on offense. They're going to need to be at full strength, playing really damn good ball to beat Jacksonville down there in Jacksonville.
Here's how I look at it. I always support when a player makes the conscious business decision to hold out, understanding the financial downside of doing so. And when you're a veteran on a second contract, this is one of the little landmines they buried into the latest CBA. Those fines can never be waived. All of Nick Bosa's fines were waived, and he had significant fines because he was fined, in theory, a game check for each of the 3 preseason games he missed, in addition to $40,000 a day, not $50,000 a day in fines. For him, it was 40, but again, it was all waived. For Jones, it can't be waived. I just feel like if you're going to commit to the holdout, you got to commit to it. The Chiefs lost without you week 1. Let it play another week. Let's see what happens with the Jaguars. If they lose to the Jaguars, that increases the urgency to get this guy back. Let it fly. Let it roll. Let it play out. The problem is that when you do this and you incur these fines and you lose a game check that's never coming back, the easy critique of the whole thing is, why didn't you just hold in? And at one point he said he didn't want to be a distraction. How's it a distraction if a guy holds in? Guys hold in all the time.
Yeah.
Well, if he's standing on the sideline watching practice while the team's practicing, well, that's not a distraction. They understand. They're happy you're there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're there, if you're in the building, if they know that it's just a matter of time before we work this out, I think it creates a better sense that, yeah, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a distraction to hold in.
I don't either. I'm with you there.
I think what may have happened is there was just pressure to get this done, because once you start thinking about $3.1 million, where's that money going to come back from? How can I make that money back? That money's never coming back. And if I had held in,
that's right,
that money wouldn't be gone.
I think that's very real. I think that's the pressure that mounts up with this little new nugget that was thrown into the CBA that, of course, takes a huge avenue of negotiating away from football players. Definitely. Yeah, I would agree. And I would agree with you too that, hey, if you were really hell-bent, one more week might have done the job. It really might have. 0-2, listen, this week, this is a different challenge. This is another big offensive line, okay, just like Detroit was. And I know they did a good job beating, in the Detroit run game and doing that. But this is different, too, in that Trevor Lawrence is better than Jared Goff. He's scarier, okay? The receivers for Jacksonville are scarier than Detroit. So, Kansas City would not be cool with, let's go with the Detroit game plan into Jacksonville, where we're going to crowd the line of scrimmage and put our corners in some really tough positions and all that. If they come into the game with that same game plan, Trevor Lawrence is going to throw for over 350 yards. They can't do that. And that, to me, is where Chris Jones will come in handy here, is he'll allow them a little flexibility to be a little more conservative maybe on the back end, to where it's not Calvin Ridley, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. Holy crap, we can't match up with everybody. We need help of our safeties here. Okay, Chris Jones is here. That's where he'll help out. That's where this matchup is different than Detroit on Thursday night, where, yeah, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, but you and I both know he lives in the 10 to 25 area. He doesn't live in the 70 palm post area. That's a different, threat with Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence, who's got, one of the best arms in football.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.